These are known as one-card flourishes. Super easy to learn and insanely visual, these flourishes will turn any regular card trick into a pure eye candy magic. Hi, my name is Josep Vidal, and for the last 16 years I've been learning, creating and performing magic all around the world. And in this video I will not only teach you with a detailed step-by-step on how to learn these one-card flourishes super fast, but also how to combine them and incorporate them into your card magic or cardistry routines. So if this sounds good to you, get your deck of cards, sit down, and let's get into it. Before we get into this tutorial, I would like to share with you some of the advices I would give to myself 16 years ago when I was barely starting into card magic. And I'm sure that if you're a card magician, you will find this very useful too. One of the things I would like to start with is to consider how to smartly implement this type of moves into your card routines. In magic, and especially in card magic, a lot of the times, less is more. What do I mean by that? When we're beginners, we tend to orient our card tricks into look as flashy, as visual, and as impactful as possible. And that's okay. It's good that you get into these phases so you can go through them, understand them, because what you want as a beginner is to show people that what you're doing is really cool, and you want the attention of the people so you can perform more and more. That's what we're looking for as magicians. And with the time and the experience, you will start to see that some of the moves and card flourishes you perform while doing card magic do not really add any value to the spectator's magical experience. And that's something that it will take time, but if there's somebody who already passed through it and already let you know this, and it can make you reflect, this I think will save you a lot of time. It will make, let's say, evolve your taste on it a lot faster. So what I would recommend you is to carefully consider adding this type of card flourishes into your card routines and try to ask yourself, does it add any value to the spectator? And if so, what is the value? What is the message? What is the content I'm trying to provide? Do I try to evoke a certain idea? Do I try to create a certain misdirection over here? So for you going through all this thinking process, you will realize that it will make your card tricks a lot stronger in a way of method, and also a lot deeper. So I invite you to see adding card flourishes into your card tricks as cooking a nice meal with ingredients and spices. Your aim will always be to create a nice balance in between the combination of all the ingredients and spices you add, so the meal will be tastier and a lot more enjoyable for everybody. Lastly, I would like to finish this section by letting you know in the way and in the order we're going to be teaching these moves. Since by the end of the video we're going to put everything together in a sequence so you can practice it over and over and also have a nice visual cardistry routine to practice or to show to your friends, I'm going to be teaching based on the order that the sequence follows. So if you're interested, you will go already from the beginning to the end of the sequence. But if you have preference to other moves, I invite you to use the chapters marked in the timeline that you will see so you can go straight into the move you're interested in, and eventually, if you want, learn everything into a sequence by following the whole tutorial in order. So now that I shared all the information I wanted you to know before we start, let's move on to a tutorial. I would like to start this tutorial by teaching you how to do the one-handed card turnover that looks like this. To achieve the one-hand turnover, one of the first things we have to understand is that we are not turning it over because of the angle and the way we throw it. No. This will not give us as much control and accuracy and will not create this sudden effect we want to when revealing a card. So what we're doing instead is just create enough space so whenever we do a fast, sudden downward motion, we'll suspend the card for a while, and because our thumb will be staying in this fixed position, we'll kick the card on the side. So whenever it just lands naturally on our hand, it will just land, turn it over, because we created that space for it. So in real time, will look something like this. I know this could be a little bit confusing and your thumb will maybe not stay as fixed, but for you to have a better understanding, here is a slow motion of what's going on. So as a quick review, we are starting with this kind of mechanics grip position to have more control. Does not really matter, but if you're not experienced, I would recommend you to start like this. And then we just raise our arm to create enough space. And once we estimated that that's good enough, then we just do a sudden downward motion and maintain our thumb in the position we want to, without moving it barely. So that will be the way to do it without a deck of cards, where you just produce a card to the other hand and reveal it straight away. But what happened if you are performing a card trick that requires you to reveal the card on top of the deck? Well, the mechanics is the same. we just all need to consider that we're holding now a deck of cards, so it will not be as free or as convenient, and also that we need to start from a pinky break position. If you know what a pinky break is, it's basically separating 1, 2, 3 or as many cards you want from the rest of the deck by placing your pinky tip in between, like this. So from here, what we're doing is separating the top card so we can move it and treat it independently from the rest of the packet. And the mechanics here, as I said, will be the same. We just separate with a pinky break, go up to create enough space, make a downward motion, and maintain our thumb so we can flip it and turn it over like this. So this is all you need to know to learn how to do the one-handed turnover. From here, there's no rules, so I invite you to practice and see the possibilities on how to potentially implement and see the different combinations so it can add value to the card effects you're performing. And from my point of view, I would say that this is one of the card flourishes I would encourage you to include because it adds a certain convenience to a certain sequence of many card tricks you can see around, and I think it gives this nice little touch that people like to see whenever they see a card trick. So as I said in the before we start section, try to find a balance and see which are the key points where you can add this move to add value to the spectator's experience, and I'm sure this will be a move that you will soon implement into your card routines. Now I would like to continue this tutorial by teaching you how to do the card twirl or flicker. That it looks like this. If I'm not mistaken, this back in the days was originally published and known as the Flicker, and it was created by one of the integrators of this group known as the Verts or Virtuoso. This is a very cool cardistry company and team that developed their own moves and tutorials, that some of them are for free on their website, and also have their own decks that look pretty cool, so I recommend you to check out. The reason why I call it Twirl is because I saw many tutorials that are calling it as such, so from this point I'm not sure what came first. Most likely was the Flicker from Virtuoso. If there's someone in the comment section that can clarify this for me, I would appreciate it so I can point it out in the description. But for now, to keep it safe, I will call it card twirl or card flicker. To do it, it is super simple. We're going to start off by holding one card between our thumb and index like so. And because we need now to engage with our middle finger, what we need to do is to curl our index finger while retracting the thumb. So now our middle finger can hook the card from one of the sides and transfer the grip. So we are now holding it in between our index and middle finger like so. And because we're extending both fingers, it inevitably makes the card go from this vertical orientation to this horizontal orientation that creates this flickering motion that we are looking for. Now from here, we just need to go back by retracting or curling the middle finger back, and with our thumb go around and contact the back of the card. So we are now getting it back into the initial position. So basically this is all what we're doing. We're just going from this position to this one and back. And if we combine it all together in real time, it looks something like this. And the reason why when you see it, it looks that you're doing so many things is because we're also adding this circular wrist motion that creates the illusion that we're doing a lot of crazy stuff here. But basically that's what we're doing, just this. Besides the circular wrist motion, you can also add kind of a whip motion that looks pretty cool also, but it's more up to you. So here I recommend you to explore and see what you can do with it. And before we get into the next move, I would like to let you know that this is the type of move I do not consider to add in my card tricks, because this type of moves do not add any value on their spectator experience in a card trick unless it has a very specific purpose. So I recommend you, unless it have a very specific use or reason, to keep it more into the cardistry area. But again, this is more up to you and your style, and in the end the spectators will let you know that if this is something good or not. Now I would like to continue by teaching you how to do the card flick. That looks something like this. Basically what we're doing is throwing a card with this rotation motion that will allow us to accurately direct it where we want it to. This, if I'm not mistaken, is a move that I learned from Dan and Dave, but I'm not really sure about its origin because I learned it a lot of years ago and I could not find much reference about it. So if you know it, please let me know in the comment section, as I'll be adding the reference to it in the description. So to do it, it is very simple. We're starting by holding a card in between our thumb and index like so, having the index slightly curved and with the side of it pressing against the thumb like so. So we're creating this curve that whenever it's released, because we're going to perform a flicking motion, it will just force the card to spin and go into the direction we want it to. And from here, what we're going to do now is to basically flick our finger like so So because of the friction we're applying by pressing it against the thumb, we're just making the car get free and get tossed vertically like so. Additionally, what we're adding here is also a wrist motion that will add momentum and create this vertical motion that we're looking for. Again, very simple. Hold it in between our index and thumb like so, and pressing with the side of an index like this. And from here, we just add a wrist motion while at the same time flicking with our fingers like so. So we make it spin and go up at the same time in a very controlled way. So this is all you need to know to learn how to do the car flick. This is one of the moves I highly recommend you to consider to add into your car tricks. The way I added in my case, for example, was as a way to find a car. As you can see on the Guardians of the Galaxy card trick I created, I'm basically using a car to throw it into the deck and get it stuck in a way that will allow me to find a specific car I'm looking for. So here there's no limits. I recommend you to explore and see how you can combine it or add it. And please let me know in the comments if you have any potential applications that you find very cool and would like to share. Now I would like to teach you on how to perform what's known as the morning star. And it looks something like this. This is a very cool move that is original and created by, again, the Cardistry team called the Verts or Virtuoso. So basically, to get the car naturally stick into our thumb is to press with our index finger with the very tip against the thumb, trying to add as much surface of your thumb tip as possible, because like this we're increasing the sticky area that will increase the possibility or the probability of the car to get stick into our thumb like so. Because we are not adding much surface here, what we're allowing is the thumb to get naturally sticked into the car and making sure that everything will go as we want to. We add, for example, the tip of our thumb like this. You'll see that most of the times, because we are adding pressure with it, the car will get stick into our index. So to prevent that, as I said, we're just gonna press as much as we can with a very little part tip of our index finger against as much of the surface of our thumb tip as possible. So once we take the index out, the thumb gets the car stick naturally like this. And here, the ways I see this type of moves implemented is as a slow motion part of it that looks pretty cool. So we can start with a car flicker or twirl that we just learned before. And then from here, just add pressure so we can add this slow motion illusion that looks pretty cool, so we can finish the Cardistry routine we just started. And to create as much as possible this slow motion is first to just take our time, just try to delay it by doing bigger moves, and also try to keep the angle so it's not as obvious that the car is stick into our thumb, because there's a huge difference if I do this than if I do this. Hope you can see the difference. Of course, our aim is not to create the perfect illusion, but it's just for a while, just do some fast movements, and at some point, just add this slowliness that creates this kind of slow-mo illusion. Something I would recommend you from here is to explore the different ways in you can add this, because for example, instead of going up and down and create this slow motion illusion, you can also create kind of an anti-gravity illusion by doing it from down and up like this. And before we get into the other move, I would like to let you know that as in the car trail or car flicker, this is the type of moves I will not consider adding into a card trick unless it has a very specific purpose. Here, if we're doing a card trick where we are playing with time and the flow of time by doing some slow motion moments, this could make a lot of sense. But for the rest of uses, I don't see how this could add value or could add something that will make spectators have a better experience with that card trick per se. So I recommend you to have it into a cardistry routine that you will see that it will be very easy to implement in most of the cardistry routines you're doing, and it will look also very cool in visual terms. So explore it, learn it, and try to fit it into any of your cardistry routines you're doing. And if so, if you want to do it in a card trick, try to find the right purpose and the use of it. Finally, I would like to show you how to do the card toss that looks something like this. This is a type of move that is very simple, but I always like to add because it creates this control sensation that I want people to feel whenever I'm moving cards around with my hands. To do it, basically what we're doing is holding a card in between our thumb, index, and middle finger like so, and just throwing it in a specific angle and with a wrist motion that gives the perfect direction, as if it will be a magnet or string that makes it go straight into the hand or the place we want it to. And here I could give you many details and information on how I throw it exactly, but I would recommend you mostly to follow visually the way I'm doing it and just try yourself to see what's the angle and what's the direction that works for you. And if you want to implement it into your cardistry, or as I showed in the beginning, something we're gonna do is to first know how to do the charlier. If you don't know how to do it, you can find here the tutorial on how to perform the charlier cut, and basically just go over and over practicing the charlier and throwing the card like this. Something we have to prevent is that whenever we are tossing it, is to avoid tossing it in an open angle like this, because what this will cause is to flip, and we don't want that, unless of course you want to make a card reveal, something like this. So I recommend you to avoid that, to throw it as much as you can in direction to the card mat, so you make sure it will not tend to flip. So this is all you need to know to learn how to do this one card flourishes, that I'm sure that once you get into it, it will not only be very funny to learn, but also you will find very useful to be added into your cardistry or card effect routines. If you have any doubts or comments about it, please don't forget to use the comment section, as I'll be very happy to assist you throughout the learning process. And now if you would like to learn more and put everything into a sequence, let's move on to the bonus section. In this bonus section, I'll be teaching you how to combine all this moves together into a cardistry routine, so you can practice it and loop it over and over, making your practicing time a lot more efficient. And for that, what we're doing is basically starting, as in the tutorial, by the order I'll be teaching the moves. So we're gonna start off by performing, as in the tutorial, the first move, which is the one hand turnover, like this. Here then we're gonna transfer the card from one hand to the other. If you wanna do it in a fancier way, you can do it with a top shot, like this. But keep in mind that the top shot is changing the orientation we initially started with. So in the end, it could have some implications that we'll comment later. But if not, if there's no issue on the orientation of the card, you just can do it like this. By the way, if you don't know how to do the top shot, here is a tutorial attached on how to perform it. But if you don't know it, and if you would like to keep it as this, you just transfer the card from one hand to the other, simply as this. From here, now we perform the card flicker or the card twirl once. Then from here we are in a perfect position to combine it with a card flick like this, and then from here I normally like to perform it again. So whenever we get back, we can now combine it and link it with a morning star by pressing it with our index finger like this against the thumb, and from here create this slow-mo illusion that we aim to create whenever we're doing the morning star. So we're getting it back to the deck and square it like this, and all together will look something like this. So that was the tutorial. Hope you like it, I hope you enjoy it, and if so, please don't forget to give a thumbs up. This will help me a lot. And if you're liking this type of tutorials, consider subscribing, as I'll be uploading many tutorials that will go from basic to intermediate to more advanced, so everybody will have a tutorial according to their level. And now if you want to keep learning with me, I'm letting you hear this super cool tutorial that I'm sure you will enjoy. And again, thank you so much for watching this tutorial till the end. I hope to see you in the next one.